guys, welcome to my channel, and here I am, your host Dr. Sene, with a shocking story of a crime that took place in Japan. Let's dive in. Lindsay Hawker was born and raised in England and enjoyed a good, solid, happy childhood. She had two sisters. Lindsay graduated from University of Leeds, and though she was thinking of doing a master's degree, she decided to take a break from her studies and go overseas as an English teacher in Japan. She got a placement as an ESL teacher, English as a second language teacher, in Nova, which at the time was the most recognized private English school in Japan in Tokyo. Lindsay was very excited and she settled down so very well in Japan. Lindsay traveled around sightseeing and was really enjoying her job as a teacher as well. Life was looking great for Lindsay. It was March 2007, about 5 months after she had come to Japan, that Lindsay was sitting on a train heading home when she might have noticed a young Japanese male sitting across her staring at her. Lindsay may have tried not to be alarmed by this intense stares of the guy, and as the train reached her destination, she got off and walked towards the exit of the station to get her bike and ride home quickly. Then she heard this young man's voice right behind her. "Hey, you're my English teacher." She looked at him and said, "No, I'm not." And she started getting on her bike very quickly. But the young man started running along with her and was desperately trying to keep up the conversation with her, asking her all kinds of questions about from where she was, and also asked if she could teach him English. Finally, as she got to her apartment, he was there too. And he came in with her and asked her for a glass of water. And he was tired, probably after all the running he had done. Lindsay, the nice, kind young woman she was, offered him a glass of water. He was quite chatty and he managed to organize an English lesson with her soon. Not before he drew a picture of her and scribbled his details, including his name, phone number and his email. And he left. Now guys, the name of this guy was Tetsuji Ichihoshi. He was 28 and came from a very rich family. He wasn't really doing much with his life, but was financially supported with a thumping allowance by his very wealthy mum and dad, who probably didn't even know how much of a useless, twisted loser he was. I already told you guys, he was 28, unemployed, yet there were two things he was passionate about. He was a gym fanatic, and he was also obsessed with watching incredibly violent and gory manga with offensive themes like sexual assault, frightening demons, and really, really gross stuff. That is some information about Tetsuji Ichihoshi. Guys, now let's get back to the day of his interaction with Lindsay. He left his details with her. I already said that, however. Did I tell you that his email address was wetlover@hotmail.com? Oh my God, what? That should have been a huge red flag to Lindsay. However, she was a trusting and kind soul and promised to do some English lessons with him. On 25th of March 2007, Lindsay met up with Ichihoshi at around 10 o'clock, at about 10 a.m. at a cafe nearby to do a conversation lesson. She had to finish off her lesson, get her payment obviously, and get to her workplace. After the lesson, Ichihoshi checked his wallet and realized he did not have enough money to pay her for her lesson. The young man apologized and suggested that they take a taxi back to his apartment where she could collect the payment from him and that she could take the same taxi back to her workplace. Lindsay thought it was a great idea. They both hopped a taxi and Ichihoshi convinced her to come up with him into his apartment where he could pay her. She asked the taxi to wait for her. The cab driver waited and waited, and as she did not come back down, he decided to go ahead and take on another hire. Inside the apartment, Lindsay was immediately beaten on the head with an object and knocked out by Ichihoshi. He gagged her and tied up her hands and legs with plastic ties. He assaulted her in the most horrific way before strangling her to death. By 26 March, Lindsay had missed 2 work shifts. Her colleagues looked for her and ultimately reported her missing. Now guys, the sick killer Ichihoshi had removed the bathtub from his bathroom and left it in the balcony with Lindsay's body in it. He is then said to have gone to a hardware shop and bought some chemicalized product that would help the body decompose fast. Also guys, as the police searched Lindsay's apartment, they found the picture he had drawn of her and his details on the paper. As the police stormed into Ichihoshi's apartment to question him, they found Lindsay's body in the bathtub. Ichihoshi ran away. Guys, he was super fit. I told you he was obsessed with gym work. Guys, would you believe me that if I tell you that the police had to spend 2.5 years searching for this freakish murderer? Ichihoshi had plastic surgery done as well, and it was very hard to recognize him. In November 2009, he was in a ferry trying to get to Okinawa. He was arrested on a tip the police received and is now serving his life sentence in jail. Guys, what do you think of this terrible event? I think that women need to be careful of super friendly strangers giving out creepy vibes, don't you think? And guys, if a stranger is actually following you home, striking up a conversation with you, isn't that overwhelmingly creepy? Call a friend immediately, or better, if you cannot shove him away, if you cannot shove him off, ride straight to the nearest convenience store or police station. As a woman, I am warning all other women to look for all red flags and be safe, please, when interacting with a stranger. If he is super friendly, then it's even worse. Leave your comments, guys. Thank you, and I see you again soon. Good night.